Well, hello YouTubers, Mike here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to part 2 of me working with the gold ore from Jason at MBMM. I bought some of his gold ore off of eBay. And in the last video, I sorted it out, sieved it, and panned out the fines and found a good little bit of gold. I also found a couple of pieces of rock that had some nice gold in them too. So what we're going to do today is we're going to continue working with Jason's ore. Now in the last video, I sorted the big chunks of ore into 3 piles. And what it looks like we've got here is wall rock from the side of Jason's mine. This doesn't look like it really has much in the way of gold in it. Possible. It's inside. I'm just not seeing it on the surface. Okay. This looks like the actual vein that Jason might be going after. This is some heavily mineralized quartz right here. And I have found some gold in the stuff that looks like this. Just looking at it with my loupe, seeing it on the surface, we got gold. Okay. And then back here, this looks like just barren quartz. Like if you imagine a wide quartz vein that Jason might be blasting, and I know he's blasting because I found a bit of fuse in here too. So Jason's blasting this quartz vein. He's getting some wall rock from the side of the vein. He's getting the middle of the vein that he wants, and he's getting sort of a barren quartz edge of the vein that he probably doesn't want. So we've got that. Plus, I only did the fines in the last video. So we've got, I ran everything through a 1/4-inch screen. We've got all the stuff that went through a 1/4-inch screen here. There's a fair amount of material here. And we've got everything that stayed on top of the 1/4-inch screen. And again, there's a lot of material here. So this stuff all needs to be processed. I'm not sure how far we'll get in this video, but we'll give it the old college try, as they say. So where do I want to start today? Well, I think I'm going to start by checking out the stuff in this bucket, the bigger rocks in here. And they're all from a couple inches across down to 1/4-inch size. I think I'm going to pull a lot of the bigger ones out, wash them, and we'll look at them with the loupe and see if we can find any nice specimen gold in there. Or any gold at all that's easily visible that I can give you a good look at. That would be neat to see. And then later, I think we will crush this stuff up and pan it out. Okay, because this stuff will run really easily through either of my ore crushers. I won't have any trouble with this, and I should be through it really quickly. And we can pan it out, and I'll bet there's going to be some good gold in here. I really bet there will be. And then this stuff, we'll see how far I get today. Feeding this stuff through the ore crushers, that's going to take some time. It's going to be a lot slower because this stuff's bigger. And I can't just dump it in. I'm going to have to put it in a few pieces at a time. Whereas this stuff, I can just sort of put a funnel on top and slowly feed it in. So, yeah, we'll see how far we get with that. And then I've got this stuff up here. Well, it's all too big for either of my ore crushers. So I'm going to have to smash this into smaller pieces. And I need to make a judgment call on whether I do all of it or just the stuff that looks like it's from the gold-bearing vein. I don't know if there's really any gold in this wall rock or in that barren quartz up there. It certainly doesn't look like it when I'm looking at it with my loupe. But we'll see. Maybe we can do a couple pieces and see if there's anything. And, if not, don't do the rest of it. If there is, process the rest of it. So, anyway, that's probably not all going to fit in this video. So let me get to washing rocks first off and see if I can find any specimen pieces. Specimen pieces would be nice. Alright, I'm going to wash the dust off of these bigger rocks so I can get a good look at them with my loupe down here and see if there's any good specimen gold in any of them. There's that. That's what I want to look at for sure. It's got some nice vugs and inclusions in it. Take a look at that. We will sort through these and see what we can find with my loupe. See if I see gold in them. I've already seen gold in a couple of rocks. So let me get to sorting and looking here. All right, I've been standing here for the last half hour looking at these rocks with my loupe, really close up. And I've come to a few conclusions. First off, the darker rocks, which look like wall rock, country rock, I've looked at enough of them to convince myself that they don't have any visible gold in them, okay? There's a lot of quartz here that's not mineralized. It's just quartz. And I've looked at enough pieces of this to say that, yeah, there's really no visible gold in them. Now, there are a lot of more mineralized pieces of quartz here, which I can see a lot of sulfides in, but no visible gold right off. Doesn't mean there isn't any gold in this. It just means I don't see any with my loupe. There could be a lot of gold in here. In fact, some of these others that I don't see anything in, there could be a lot of gold in them. All right. And you know, this kind of jives with what I came up with in the first video. Remember how I lined the big rocks up in 3 lines, and it said, this line over here represents the wall rock, and you can see along the edge of these rocks that you're getting into quartz. Okay, that's the wall rock. Then there was a middle line, which was mostly quartz that was heavily mineralized. I'm like, this is the vein Jason's going after, this stuff right here. And then there was another line of quartz that was kind of barren. Didn't really have anything in it, no mineralization. And I'm like, well, now we're getting into barren quartz, a barren part of the quartz vein. So yeah, this is everything I'm seeing in here just reinforces that notion that this is what we've got here. These 3 different kinds of rocks. And it's the mineralized quartz that I'm seeing gold in. It's the mineralized quartz I'm seeing a lot of sulfides in, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's gold in there too. So this pile right here is stuff that I don't see any gold in. Although it could have gold in it because I see other stuff in there, like sulfides. All right, this pile up here is stuff where I see gold in it, but it's really small, tiny flakes disseminated through the surface of the thing. Going to be hard to see, but without a loupe, without a 10 or 12x loupe. But they're there. I see them. And then this little pile over here is ones where I see gold, and it's a whole lot easier to see. So what I'm going to do is, it's kind of gloomy right now, but when the sun's out and it's a little brighter out here, I'm going to try and give you a look at the gold I see on these right here. So there's definitely some gold there. There's nothing here that I would call specimen grade, but there's definitely some gold here. And I think if we crush all this stuff up and pan or sluice it out, I think we'll get a fair amount of gold out of it. Plus, of course, this is just the big stuff. If I come over here, you know, and look down here, I've still got these 2 buckets. This is the smaller stuff that stayed on the 1/4-inch screen, and this is the stuff that went through the 1/4-inch screen. So there's a lot of material here. I think once it's all crushed up and either panned or sluiced, I think we're going to get a fair amount of gold out of it. Plus, I still got the big rocks, which I'm going to have to do something with. So yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of gold out of this before we're done. So with this rock here, down in this crevice, there's some shiny sulfides down there, but there's also some little flakes of gold mixed in. easier to see with the loop, of course, but they're in there. And I suspect this whole rock is probably full of the same stuff. So this rock here has this dark vein running through it. Well, along the top edge of this dark vein where it touches the quartz, there are multiple little specks of gold. All right, I think they're too small for any of them to show up on the phone. I need a better macro lens, but this thing has a fair number of little bits of gold in it, and there's probably a lot more on the inside that I can't see. Okay, this rock right at the tip up here, there's some gold. And again, I don't know if that's showing up. It's hard for me to see out here in the sun. I can barely see it with my eye, but with the loop I can see it easy. And I really hope this one shows up, because this one, I could see it even without the loop. Hopefully it's showing up on the phone too. Right about in the middle there, where those dark veins of sulfide come together, there's some gold. Maybe I'll try and get a still and circle it again. Alrighty, I think it's time to get serious and smash up some of this ore of Jason's and see exactly what's in it. So over here, we've got my Smash-O-Matic ore crusher, my homemade ore crusher. I have a series of videos on building this, and I had a contest for the name. And somebody suggested Smash-O-Matic, which resonated with my 1970s memories of the Ronco commercials, where everything was O-Matic. And I'm like, yeah, Smash-O-Matic, that's what it is. So basically what I've got here is I've got a big motor, which is driving this doohickey. And what is this doohickey, you ask? Well, it's basically a steel shell with a shaft running through it. And hanging from that shaft are 4 hardened steel chains with steel weights on the ends. And this spins insanely fast in here. Those chains and weights are spinning around. I've got a feed tube that comes down and puts stuff in through the back. And I've got an exhaust, and I've got an outlet on the front of it. So anything that goes in has to go from the back to the front past all those chains and weights, which are spinning really fast, and they're going to get the snot knocked out of them as they spin. And they're going to come out of here as a dust. Okay, so that's the way the Smash-O-Matic works. Over here, I've got a cyclone dust separator that's going to collect the dust in this bin right here, and I've got my shop vac pulling a vacuum through it. If you notice up here on the top of the Smash-O-Matic, I've got a grill up on top of it there, so we can get good airflow through the Smash-O-Matic and out the exhaust. Although the way I have it designed, the actual spinning of the chains in there actually drives a pretty darn good airflow through it, even without the shop vac. But the shop vac, well, that just makes it work all that much better. So I'm going to start feeding stuff in through the feed tube up here. It's going to come down, it's going to get smashed up, going to turn into dust, go through this tube into the cyclone separator. It will get separated from the air and drop into the bin. Mostly clean air will go back to the vacuum, and we will wind up with a bin full of ore that's been crushed into dust. So I built the Smash-O-Matic to be able to handle larger amounts of material than I can run through my Mighty Mill. I love my Mighty Mill, but it's not made for production. In fact, the manufacturer says using it for production will void the warranty, and it's really not all that convenient to use for production either. So the Smash-O-Matic here, I can run a lot more material through it a lot quicker than I can through the Mighty Mill. So that's the reason I built it. And I think we're going to start with the minus a quarter fraction and work our way up to bigger rocks. And see if we can get a fair amount of stuff in the bin here to process and see if we can find some gold in it. So let me finish setting up, and we will fire up the old Smash-O-Matic and feed some stuff through it. All right, I got a little bit of safety equipment here. I got a dust mask and some ear muffs, because this is going to be loud and it's going to make some dust. Although I'm not expecting to see too much dust since I'm using the big vacuum over there. Most of the dust's going to get caught on its filter. All right. So let's crush some stuff. All right, let's smash some material. Get my dust mask on, hearing protection, vacuum on, Smash-O-Matic on. Well, there we go. Smash-O-Matic made pretty short work of the -1/4 stuff. I'm going to run some of the bigger stuff through it, although not the really big rocks, because, well, there's a limit to what I can put in here. So I'm going to run these that I saw some gold in, or that I strongly suspect have some gold in from the amount of sulfides on the surface. And we'll see how the Smash-O-Matic handles these. Alright, let me find my hearing protection. I set it down somewhere. I have run maybe half of this material through. The Smash-O-Matic is starting to sound like it needs a little attention. Something's seriously out of balance in there. I don't know if we've thrown one of the weights or what. So I'll have to take it apart and figure out what's up with it, because it is seriously shaking itself loose. It's shaking a couple of its bolts loose. They're holding it down. So, yeah, something's out of balance. So I'll have to figure that out and fix it. That's the great thing about building your own equipment. No matter what happens to it, you can always fix it, because you built it the first time. But, yeah, I ran a good amount of this material through. Let's open this up and see just how much dust there is in it. Maybe we'll just spend the rest of this video panning it out and see how much gold we can get. Alright, so let's have a look inside the old dust deputy here. Let me pull stuff stuck in the hose through. Let's open this up. Yeah, I think the Smash-O-Matic is going to need a little attention. It might be a simple fix. It looks like it's just pulled its bolts loose that are holding it down to its base. Vibrations worked them all loose, but I think it's also stripped them. So I'll have to fix that. It's just not a fix I think I can implement today in this video. Require a trip to the hardware store, maybe. At least one. Come on, you. Here we go. Oh, wow. Yeah. I'll bring the camera over so you can see what's in here. There is a lot of white dust in here. That's exactly what I was looking for. So here we are. Smash-O-Matic does a great job. So I still got this much left to do. Do that another day. Getting quite a lot of dust here. Towards the upper end of what I really want to pan. Might want to set up the sluice and sluice this stuff through. But maybe we'll do a pan or two today just to see what we've got. And in the future, we'll set up the sluice. We'll see if there's enough gold in here to make it worthwhile. Alright, I got my panning station set up over here. I got a pan, my loupe, so I can see any fine gold in there. My snuffer bottle, which still contains the gold that I found in part 1 of this series when I panned out the finds that were in Jason's stuff. I got some jet dry, which I'm going to use to break up the surface tension of the water so fine gold won't tend to float. And I got my mining magnet so I can pull steel out. We found out in the first part of this series that Jason's equipment leaves a lot of little bits of steel in here, in the ore. And I know that my Smash-O-Matic sheds a lot of steel too, as it crushes the rocks. As the equipment crushes the rocks, well, the equipment gets crushed by the rocks, and little bits of steel flake off all the time and get mixed in with the powdered ore. So I'm expecting to see that. So let me get a respectable pan of the ore out of the bin down here. That's a good amount to start with. We'll do that right there. Now let's get this stuff all good and wet. Break up any clods in it. Oh, it's warm too from all the friction of going through the Smash-O-Matic. Takes a lot of energy to smash those rocks, even the little ones, into dust. That energy winds up as heat eventually. Well, I think I can take this mask off now. Not dealing with anything dusty anymore at this point. Alright. So let's pan some of this stuff out and see if it was worth getting the old Smash-O-Matic out and hooking it up. based on the amount of gold we found in the finds, you know, back in part 1 of this series, I just sifted out the finds, everything smaller than 1/10 of an inch that came with the ore. Didn't do anything else to it, just sifted it. Washed the rocks, washed the dust off the rocks, and I panned the finds and the mud that came off the rocks, and I found a fair amount of gold just in that stuff. So I'm hoping that by smashing the rocks here, we're going to liberate even more gold. Because basically what we got last time was just the stuff on the outside of the rocks that had rubbed off. Hopefully there's a lot more on the inside. Stuff's panning down pretty quick. It's mostly quartz dust, which is pretty fine and light. We're getting down to it real quick here. See some heavies in there. Haven't seen any gold yet, but maybe soon. We try pulling the steel out. Get that out of the way. Oh yeah, we got some steel in there. Some from Jason and some from me. Yeah. I drop it and pick it up again, it leaves behind a lot of material. I don't want to pull gold out with the steel, so I'll drop it and pick it up a couple of times, and each time I do that it leaves behind stuff. Alright, got the steel out of there. We should be able to pan down to the heavies a little easier. Probably didn't get all of it. I've got a 3/16 inch screen on the outlet of the Smash-O-Matic, so there are going to be a few rocks in here. It's not all dust that comes through. A few small rocks come through too. But I don't really see that as being a problem. I can already see we got a lot of sulfides in here. A lot of metal sulfides. Probably pyrite, chalcopyrite, arsenopyrite, other stuff. This is what I saw in the finds. And I knew we were going to see a lot of sulfides in here because, well, number one, I could see the veins of it in the rocks I was putting in. Even the small rocks have veins of that stuff in them. But I could smell it. You know, it's too bad you couldn't smell what was coming out of the Smash-O-Matic there. The exhaust from it was very sulfury. So there were definitely a lot of sulfides in these rocks. What am I seeing there? Oh, it's just an orange rock, not gold. Okay, just an orange rock. Quite an orange rock, but a rock nonetheless. Not seeing any gold yet, but man, yeah, there's a lot of sulfides in there. A lot of rocks. You know what? I should probably sift this stuff before I pan it. That might be a good idea. Get rid of some of these bigger rocks. I'll do another pan, I'll sift it. Starting to see something light colored up there at the top there. Let me look at that with my loupe. Whoops. Well, that wasn't too smart, Michael. He swirled it all around. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm seeing gold. Oh yeah. Let me look at my loupe here. I do believe there's some gold in this pan. I'm gonna, let me try and clean it up a little better. Go out in the sun, and we'll get a look at it with the macro on my phone. No big, no big chunks like we found in the finds so far, but there is a heck of a line of gold in here. It's a lot of sulfides, but there's a lot of gold too. All right, let me see if I can get you a look at this out in the sun. Oh, focus. All right, can you see that? Look at that line of gold. Look at that line of gold up against the base of the pan. Everything in front of the gold is metal sulfides, pyrites, whatnot. But that stuff back there, that's all gold. That is a fair amount of gold for the small amount of material I panned out. Wow, that is a lot of gold. Alrighty, we got some gold in the pan. That's always good to see. Not getting rich, probably not even getting my money back, what I paid Jason, but we're having some fun. Exercising the equipment, finding a flaw in it that I need to fix, so that's good. I am in the process of sucking this stuff up with my snuffer bottle, so it will be in the bottle with the rest of the gold that I have got out of this stuff so far. And in fact, not only am I going to suck up the gold, I'm going to suck up all these sulfides too. And maybe, just maybe, once we've processed all this ore, maybe we will smelt the contents of this snuffer bottle and see just how much gold we got all together, including whatever might be locked up in the sulfides. That would probably be of interest, I'm thinking. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in seeing me do that. All right, let me do one more pan. I'm going to find a small classifier so we can sieve out those rocks. That'll make panning a little bit easier. All right, so I got a couple classifiers here stacked. One is, I think, an 8 to the inch, and the other one is 12 to the inch. And I'm just going to sift out these big rocks. I'll look at both of them to make sure I don't have any little nuggets caught on them. Because there were some fair-sized pieces of gold in the finds I sifted out, and I'm not seeing anything. Of course, I can always keep this stuff and pan it real quick too. That'll help tell me if there's any good stuff in it. You know what? I'm going to put a little bit more than that in there. That is not a very full pan, so do a little bit more. I think I took my mask off too soon. Standing upwind, fortunately. And don't see any big nuggets in there. Oh, there's too much stuff in here to tell if there's a picker in it. Yeah, I'll pan this stuff out. And we'll see if there's anything good in it. All right, let's pan this down. See if there's anything good in this. I think we're off to a pretty good start. It's fine gold, but there's a fair amount of it there. Considering, I mean, it's like a pound of material I put in here, maybe. Find that much gold in it. That's pretty amazing. That probably equates to well over an ounce a ton, I would imagine, which is well worth mining. So I'm sure that's why Jason's doing it. Yeah, this is mostly quartz dust, and it's just washing off real easy. It's real fine, real light. Easy to pan. I like that, easy to pan. Been on a lot of creeks and streams out west where you're panning stuff that's full of garnets and black sand, and oh, that's tough to pan. When you got stuff in your pan that's almost as heavy as the gold, separating them is not easy. Because this is what panning is. It's a separation process where you're separating the lighter stuff from the heavy stuff. And gold, well, it's going to be the heaviest stuff in your pan. But if you're working in an environment where there's a lot of other heavy stuff, well, you know, it can get difficult. Difficult to separate. This stuff's pretty easy. Yeah, get a little more of this of the blonde sand out of here, and then we'll pull the steel out again. Looks pretty good. Lay it out flat here and pull the steel out. Oh yeah, my Smash-O-Matic's trying to self-destruct over there. I'm going to have to open it up and look on the inside. I don't know. The problem may just be really minor. I may have it fixed by later this afternoon or tomorrow. It might just be a problem with the mounts. That would be great. Simple, easy peasy fix. It's not making noises like it's thrown a weight or broken a chain, so I'm thinking I'll have it up and running again pretty darn soon. I've seen those other more disastrous failure modes in the past. Smash-O-Matic's been through a few iterations as I've made it more and more robust over time. Alright, let's see what's in this pan underneath this blonde sand. Lots of sulfides. Oh yeah, lots and lots of sulfides. If anything, this pan has more than the last pan. Holy moly, there's a lot of sulfides in there, and they're heavy. Hanging out in there with the gold. I don't want to move. Alright. Rest of this blonde sand out of there. We're just left with golden sulfides and hopefully a lot of gold underneath them. Yeah, those sulfides are golden too, let me tell you. There's a reason they call it fool's gold. That stuff would fool a newbie. I think I'm starting to see some gold though. Get rid of some of these sulfides. Not easy because they're heavy. Like I was saying, it makes it hard to separate the gold when you got other stuff in the pan nearly as heavy as the gold. But we're starting to develop a nice line of gold again. Getting there. I don't necessarily want to get rid of all these sulfides either. We can smelt them and see if that gives us any more gold. Alright. We might have some bigger pieces in this pan. Let's take it out in the sun and look at it with my loupe, and I'll try to get you a look with the macro or the phone again. We got a nice little line of gold there. Oh yeah, we definitely got some bigger pieces of gold in this pan. There's a borderline picker right there. Another one over there. Here's a big piece of gold that's actually in front of the sulfides. But look at this line of gold. Holy cow. All these little tiny bits of gold in there. That's a good pan. If I was sweating out in the sun in Colorado or Wyoming shoveling dirt, I'd be really happy to see this in a pan. Let me tell you. Make it worthwhile. All right. Let me get this stuff sucked up for safekeeping. All righty. Yeah. This is a good looking pan. Let me get this stuff sucked up. Sulfides and all. All right. Did I get it all? I don't think I got it all. I think there's still a little bit of gold right there that I still need to suck up. Maybe it belched back out of the tube of the snuffer bottle. That's a possibility. Sometimes that happens. That might have belched up out of the tube of the snuffer bottle. Okay, that looks better. I don't see any more gold in this pan. I think I got it all. Okay, good. Excellent. Okay, while I'm panning, let me pan this stuff out just to see if there's any pickers in here that I'm not seeing. Because there's a fair amount of material here. There could very well be a chunk of gold down in there that I'm not seeing. So we'll pan this stuff out. Just take a minute or two. If we got anything in here. Don't want to throw it away. I don't know. It's like quartz. Big chunks of sulfide. Some pieces of steel. Where's my loop? There's my loop. Let me take a look. There is some finer stuff in here. Well, you know what? I do see what could be gold. A line of finer stuff here. If I can get it separated from the rest of these big chunks, I'll suck it up. It does kind of look like gold. Not very much. No pickers in here, unfortunately, but yeah, there's a line of something there I need to suck up. It's either gold or sulfide. Some of it certainly looks like gold. All right. But otherwise, no pickers, unfortunately. No pickers or nuggets. Not so far. All right, so where do we go from here? Well, from here, I fix the Smash-O-Matic. And once I've got it running smooth again, I'll put the rest of these smaller rocks through it. And we should have plenty of dust then. I mean, we should have quite a bit of dust in this bin. I've got some even bigger rocks than this that probably either need to go through the Smash-O-Matic one at a time, or I need to bust them up a little bit more. So I'll probably do that. Caterpillars colonizing the Smash-O-Matic. It's that time of year. These green caterpillars coming out of our oak trees in the spring like crazy. So anyway, by the time I get all the rocks, the plus quarter-inch rocks, the stuff that wouldn't go through the quarter-inch screen, once I get them all smashed up, I should have a lot of dust in here. And then, I've still got all the big rocks too. And looking at the big rocks, I'm thinking maybe only a third of them probably have any gold in them. Some of them are obvious wall rock. Some look like barren bull quartz. So I even cut a couple of them in half with my lapidary saw. You know, I have a lapidary channel, Mike's Lapidary and Fossils, and I have a big 16-inch saw. I have other equipment. And I've cut some of those rocks in half, and the ones that I suspected didn't have gold, and had a look at them on the inside, and sure enough, they didn't have gold. They really didn't even have a lot of sulfides in them. So I don't think I'm going to run all of the big rocks. So maybe I will smash up just the middle group of rocks that look like they have a lot of sulfides and maybe gold in them. And then we should have plenty of material in here. Might just set up the sluice box and recirculating sluice and run it through there and then clean up the contents of the sluice rather than trying to pan all this stuff out. Because panning really isn't a production method. It takes a long time. The sluice will run this stuff a lot quicker. And then I'll just have maybe, you know, a quarter of a pan of concentrates coming out of the sluice to pan out. So maybe we'll do that, but that will have to wait for another video. Because first I got to fix the old Smash-O-Matic, and then I got to run the rest of the stuff. And then we can do that. We'll find out eventually how much gold's in Jason's ore here. So subscribe to see those future videos. And if you found this video at all interesting, educational, informative, inspirational, whatever, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. And check out my 2 other channels. I already talked about Mike's Lapidary and Fossils, but I also got one called Electro Geek 64, all about electronics and retro computing. So check those out if you're so inclined. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this one. Bye.